All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is now 11:30, even though I know these chapters come out at 11. So let's go ahead and get started. Yo, peoples, Kyushu92 here. I sort of lowered my camera down just a slight level because I've noticed in my recent streams, well, in my past several streams, that my camera would be up a little bit high. You would see more of my head, and when I would lean in, I would literally just disappear off of half the camera. So I decided to lower it, but then tilt the camera upwards a little bit so you can get a little bit more of me. And so just in case I lean in, I'm still in frame. All in the pursuit of making this viewer experience better for you. You may clap. No need to thank me. I'm kidding though. Please. I'm not that vain in thinking that. That's a joke. That's a joke. I would never think that I am far better than I think I am. Just paid no mind. But yo, peoples, Kyushu92 here, and welcome back to yet another One Piece chapter reaction and review. Last we left off, we had a whole bunch going on in the last chapter, but the real big pivotal moment, and not only the narrative directive, but also Luffy's character development, is that Luffy has reached a point that Roger has reached, that Whitebeard has reached, that Shanks and Big Mom and Kaido have reached. Now, Luffy himself, in his clash with Kaido to cap off the chapter, has been able to split the heavens just like all these big names in One Piece. So, let's go ahead and see what happens in this recent chapter, in chapter 1027, Danger Beyond Imagining. The chapter is called Danger Beyond Imagining. Something bad's gonna happen. But we have a reader's request cover art here. Reader request, Roger gleefully running from a lion whose face he scribbled on by Toshikiya. And it shows Roger literally, like the title says, running from a lion that he just drew all over, with Buggy and Shanks hiding up in a tree. And Roger's just laughing his behind off. He's literally laughing and crying at the same time because it just tickles him that bad. Ain't nobody but Roger can do this, and is all like, yeah, this is fun. This is gonna be fun to do. But let's go ahead and move on, because in that same moment, Nekomamushi and Inuarashi defeated their respective opponents. Jack was defeated by Inuarashi, and Pedal's Pedal was defeated by Nekomamushi, who, it would appear, has gone out of his Sulong form. And it shows, I guess it shows him covering his eyes, because when a mink's eyes meet with the moon, then they assume a Sulong form, whether they want to or not. So they have to wear, either like the Musketeers or Guardians, have to wear hats over themselves in order to keep the shine and view of the moon from getting into their eyes and causing that transformation. But it has Carrot and Wanda running up to Nekomamushi, along with some other minks who have joined them as well, with Carrot screaming, "Bots Catfighter! Bots Nekomamushi!" And then Nekomamushi says, "Hey, be careful you don't turn Sulong. For some reason, the moon's out again." Because he doesn't know that Luffy and Kaido were the cause of the cloud splitting. But then it cuts to the sky as Onigashima is still progressing towards the flower capital. It shows the clouds have completely parted, with Yamato thinking, "I read about this in the journal when Roger and Whitebeard met in combat." And you just remember the moment. Just remember the moment where Roger and Whitebeard met in combat, and they clashed with their conquerors so hard that it literally devastated the entire island, okay? Roger and Whitebeard were on a strength unheard of, to the point where their clash not only caused the entire island to almost destabilize, but it also managed to just cause the waves around the entire island that they were on to just rip upwards and nearly knock the Moby Dick over. That's how powerful Roger and Whitebeard's clash was. It was literally able, I keep using literally so much. Forget it, I'm gonna keep using it. It literally caused the entire island to shake under their immense haki. And then it just shows a panel with Kaido and Luffy clashing with each other. They're not even touching. They're both using armament. They're both using conquerors. And they can't even touch each other because their haki is that dense right now. But Yamato is thinking, when Roger and Whitebeard met in combat, the heavens split open. And then it shows the performance floor in the inside of Onigashima with the Minks and the Beast Pirates saying, what just caused that rumbling? Well, what's happening up there? And it shows Luffy, and then it shows Kaido. And then all of a sudden, Yamato starts bleeding. She's bleeding. So apparently that mirror move she used to cover herself in ice, apparently it didn't keep her from taking damage. Because it shows her bleeding from the spot where the crack happened when Kaido and Yamato both hit each other with a, Raime Hokke. She's now suffering after effects of it, and because his attack just went straight through her armor. Completely through it. That Thunder Bagua, I thought I blocked it, but I didn't even come close. And then Yamato drops to her knees with Luffy saying, Yamao! And he screams saying, help that coward out! And he's directing this at Momonosuke, with Momonosuke saying, who are you calling a coward? You! Come on, Momo, shape up! Shut up! I know what I have to do, but people do not just change their nature in minutes! And then Yamato jumps on top of Momonosuke, still in his dragon form, mind you, and with her saying, you'll be alright, Momonosuke. I'm with you, sorry about leaving your side earlier. Yamato? And then Kaido says, Yamato, Momonosuke, where do you think you're going? And it shows Kaido launching at Momonosuke and Yamato with, per Momonosuke's usual demeanor, screaming out in fear. Kinemon, Kiku, give me strength. I promise I'll do my part. And it shows the last thing that Kinemon said to, Shinobu and Yamato before Kaido impaled him, saying, take Lord Momonosuke and flee. And then it shows Momonosuke. It's either, I think this is Kaido. It's either Kaido bracing himself on the rocks or it's Momonosuke bracing himself on the rocks in order to prepare him to jump off. I don't know if he's going to jump off, though, because he stops at the end of the cliff of Onigashima on the top of the Skull Dome right now. And then Yamato says, hurry, Momonosuke! And it shows Kaido clashing with Yamato, still on Momonosuke's back, and he's just screaming out in fear again. And Luffy comes up behind Kaido and wraps his leg around his neck to pull him back. Yamao! And then Yamato says, I know, you want to take this one yourself, don't you? And then Luffy just smiles like Roger and just says, yeah, I want to take him on. And then Momonosuke starts plummeting off of Onigashima, saying, I'm going to die, I'm gonna die! And then Yamato says, Momonosuke, grab the sky! Grab it? Dragons don't fly, remember? Huh? You create the clouds, then grab them. And it shows Momonosuke creating flame clouds just like Kaido. And he grips it, and then he starts flying and race through the sky. That's what a dragon does. I'm flying! Those clouds are called flame clouds. And then it shows Momonosuke looking up as it looks like there's rocks underneath Onigashima falling off of the island. He was just saying, huh? Get away from the island! And it shows Yamato deflecting the rocks that are, coming from underneath Onigashima, falling towards them, and she deflects them while, Momonosuke starts to fly away. And then we see the comparison of Onigashima to Momonosuke right now. He's actually quite large. And then it shows, oh, snap! It's not just random rocks falling. They say, the island's starting to collapse! Huh? Could it be that Kaido's power is weakening and that making the flame clouds unstable? They're not able to support the rock, and it's cracking and falling away. That's the reason why Onigashima hasn't completely crumbled. This entire time it's been aloft, because Kaido was fueling it with his flame clouds. But if the island is starting to crumble despite the flame clouds, It's pretty much as Yamato has said. Kaido is slowly but surely weakening. And then Momonosuke says, "It's a disaster waiting to happen. I won't let it go to the flower capital." And it shows Momonosuke running into the island as he's attempting to try and push it back. "I turned big in order to stop this island." And Yamato says, "That's not going to work, Momonosuke." "Huh? But there's no time. Just look, the capital is so close." And from the view of Momonosuke and Yamato in this panel, you can see the flower capital directly below them, like maybe a good 1.5 miles in terms of horizontal distance. In terms of, vertical distance, who can say? But in terms of horizontal distance, they are not far from the flower capital. You can literally see the front of the flower capital. You can see the castle down there. They're close. They are close. "The capital is so close. We will arrive in no more than 5 minutes. And then either Yamato is saying or Momonosuke is saying, "Then make more flame." Then, let's see. Oh, this is Yamato, because of the way it's spoken. "Then make more flame clouds. Kaido created gigantic dragon-like clouds. And that's how he's moving this island through the air. The only thing that can push it back is even stronger flame clouds. What you speak of is impossible. I only just learned how to fly. And I may not have the same power as Kaido either." And Yamato rebukes him, saying, "You made flame clouds, didn't you? I know you can do this. The situation's much more dangerous than we imagined. Even if it settles down on land the way Kaido envisions, there will be terrible losses within the city. And in the worst case, if Kaido should succumb first, the flame clouds will vanish and Onigashima will plummet to Earth." Oh, wow. This is the first time it actually... Is this the first time it actually calls the world of One Piece Earth? Like actual Earth? Someone please correct me if I'm wrong. But is this the first time that they actually call the world Earth? Like actual Earth? I always thought that it was just the planet that One Piece is situated on. I never knew... I don't know. I just never knew that they called the planet that they live on Earth as well. Maybe it's just something that kind of escaped me. Might have just had like a lapse in memory and they might have called it that before, but it just didn't click to me when she said this. "And in the worst case, if Kaido should succumb first, the flame clouds will vanish and Onigashima will plummet to Earth. There's an incredible stockpile of weapons within the island and explosives. Onigashima might as well be a giant bomb. At this distance, there's no way the citizens can evacuate in time." Wow, that's actually a good point. If Onigashima falls, so does all the massive stockpile they have in Onigashima. And like he said, it's an island-sized nuclear bomb waiting to happen. You know what? The title wasn't wrong. This is more dangerous. This is more dangerous. Danger beyond. This is more danger beyond imagining. Onigashima is basically a floating bomb right now. "Onigashima might as well be a giant bomb. At this distance, there's no way the citizens can evacuate in time. If the island falls, everyone will perish, friend and foe alike." And it shows Yamato envisioning Onigashima falling to the ground and just exploding in a massive explosion. And then Momonosuke says, but this is Momonosuke saying, "If the island falls, everyone will perish, friend and foe alike." What? Then maybe we should stop Luffy and then Yamato hits him in the head saying, "Don't be stupid. You want to stop the man putting everything on his back and standing in the line of danger for everyone?" And it shows a panel of Luffy and Kaido preparing to use more Conqueror's Haki imbued attacks to clash with one another. "No one but Luffy, Kaido. We can't tell him about this. We have to get through this danger without anyone finding out." And then it shows massive slashes happening on the performance floor Skull Dome. And numerous beast pirates and samurai are getting slashed. And these slashes are literally breaking the swords of some of the samurais and bringing down some of the beast pirates that have defected as well. "Get down! Master King's totally lost it!" And these slashes are completely slicing through everything. Buildings, towers, everything. Because apparently King has decided to turn his arms into his Pteranodon wings, and I guess they're sharp enough in this current state to cause these massive slashes to happen. He's not using his sword, he's using his Pteranodon wings to cause all these slashes right now, and he's just glaring at Zoro as Zoro deflects one of these slashes. Then we cut to Franky as an explosion happens, and it shows Zoro being launched towards him. Like, whatever attack happened to Zoro, oh, that's what this panel means. Zoro doesn't deflect one of these slashes. One of these slashes knocks Zoro back with enough force to cause him to be launched into Franky in a completely different room. So King in his Pteranodon form literally just launched Zoro directly out of the performance floor right now, with Franky catching him, and he's seeing it just in time, and he manages to catch him, saying, "Huh? Zoro? What happened to you?" And then Zoro says, "Man, he's strong. But of course he is. What's happening out there? You want help?" "No need." And it shows Zoro, he's wheezing right now. Is the supplement, is the super generation formula that he was injected with, is it starting to wear off? Because he's wheezing now. And then Queen is rebuking King, saying, "Darn it, King! Knock it off with the chaotic attacks! You sliced my butt!" "Wish I'd sliced your neck." "What?" "Pirate Hunter Zoro just damaged King's mask." "Oh, he did?" He sliced off one of the little spikes that's on the side of King's head. Now, mind you, this is the only damage that we've seen King take at all, despite it being hit numerous times. He doesn't even have a scar when Sanji and Zoro slashed and beat up Queen earlier, when it shows Grandpa Hugh telling everyone that this is their fight. He doesn't sport any scars from that, but this is the only sort of damage we actually see on King's person right now. But Pirate Hunter Zoro just damaged King's mask. And then someone says, "Oh, no wonder he snapped. After all, nobody knows what King's face looks like." Oh? Is it that serious? Is it like when Katakuri couldn't stand people seeing his face, and then he snapped as soon as someone saw his, like he did with the chefs that gave him his merienda, his donuts. Like, he snapped like that as well. It appears King has that sort of mentality as well. Just getting one of the spikes sliced off caused him to just snap like that. After all, no one knows what King's face looks like. And then Zoro says, "Sorry, Franky, you gotta stand back. You got it. Good luck, man." And it shows King flying with him saying, "Imperial." And Zoro charges up his three-sword style, Ultra. And then King and Zoro clash with each other, with King using a move called Imperial Archer. No, that's not the right voice. Imperial Archer. And Zoro hits with his Ultra Tiger Hunt. And they clash with one another, and Zoro gets sent flying again. Zoro just gets sent flying again. And he gets knocked outside. Zoro gets knocked outside, and blood actually shoots from his mouth. And it shows King. It shows King flying towards Zoro and pushing him further outside. "Huh? Wait. I'm falling. Two-sword style. Clear lance." And using this, he creates a slice shockwave with enough force to launch him back in the opposite direction. You know how All Might uses his punches to change direction because he uses that much force? Zoro does the same thing with Clear Lance, and he uses the shockwave, the propulsion from that shockwave, to launch back towards the island. And it shows King back in his regular form now. He no longer has his wings, with Zoro opposite of him saying, "That was close. At least let me die by the sword. Show a little respect." And then King looks at him, and it shows King's damaged mask, and we see his hair underneath. We see a little bit of his hair underneath. It's swept back. I don't know what color it is. But then King ends the chapter by saying, "I'd ask the same of you." And that's the end of the chapter. Okay. Nice. I enjoyed this. And my mouse got stuck. I need to get a brand new desk. Alright, so let me see what you guys have said. Hello, Kohagen, Hero, Ogata-san, Neil Johnson, Karma. It's good to see everyone here. What is the airspeed velocity of an unladen Momo? Nice, Kaido gets weakened, so it makes more sense when Luffy defeats him. Yes! Are you okay with that, Karma? At least we know Kaido is still stronger. He's still stronger, but he's slowly but surely weakening. Are you okay with these current turn of events? Kaido is actually getting weaker, so it will make more sense that Luffy defeats him. When Luffy defeats him is because Kaido just got weak during the fight. Because if the flame clouds around Onigashima right now is any indication, he's slowly but surely getting weaker because this island is starting to slowly crumble apart. And if the island falls when Luffy defeats him, even with it being in the proximity that it is to the Flower Capital right now, there's still going to be massive devastation. Like Yamato and Momo said, the island is an entire giant bomb. It's an island-sized bomb right now. But they choose not to tell Luffy because they don't want him to lose focus on this fight that he's just taken on himself. All the fate of Onigashima and the fate of the Flower Capital and the fate of Wano itself rests on Luffy. The last thing they need to tell Luffy is that, hey, the island is starting to crumble apart, so if you defeat Kaido, then, I mean, we might die, so we need to figure out something else, which is why she's telling Momo to create even stronger flame clouds. The difference between Momonosuke and Kaido right now is that Kaido has been fighting for, who knows, possibly hours right now, just hours straight. Has not sat down and rested except for when he faced off against the Akazaya 9 and just sat down and then just drunk a whole bunch of sake. Then Big Mom joined him up there and then the Supernovas came up there and then they started fighting and Kaido has been fighting ever since. Momonosuke, however, he's had more than enough time to rest up. So that means that since he's learned how to use flame clouds to actually fly, he still has to learn how to use flame clouds to create around Onigashima and actually keep Onigashima from crashing down on the Flower Capital right now. Of course, Momonosuke still being the little scaredy cat that he is, him just learning to use flame clouds to fly is still a massive step to him. So him learning to try and put flame clouds around an entire island, he thinks that's impossible right now. But only time will tell if he thinks otherwise. Luffy always wins as an underdog. Kaido's gotten weaker because of Luffy, so win will be an upset, but a deserved win nonetheless. As much as I don't want it to happen, Kaido was right. If it lands properly on the Flower Capital, New Onigashima would make a nice capital. It would! But there's probably going to be barely anyone left to, for Kaido and them to enslave because of the devastation of him dropping an entire island on a city full of people. I mean, he's carrying a whole... Hold on, let me read that. I mean, he's carrying a whole island, so I don't think he's getting weaker just because of Luffy, probably because of Yamato, too. All these clashes with people who have Conqueror's Haki is slowly but surely wearing him down. Now, it's not as easy as, Luffy facing off against Lucci the first time, and there's a massive difference in their strengths going forward before Luffy uses Gear 3rd, but Kaido has been slowly but surely getting closer and closer to becoming far weaker than he was at the beginning of the entire Wano arc. Because when he was here at the beginning of the Wano arc, he was in tip-top form, and absolutely nothing could make him even a 0.01% chance weaker. Him knocking Luffy out the very first time, barely anything for him to work himself up over. I think it's when I think the moment he started putting all of his energy and actually started the slow descent down to when he started to get weaker was the moment he decided to use his Zoan form. Sure, it gives you increased strength and increased durability, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it also increases your endurance as well. I would like to believe that causing your body to transform in a way that causes you to output more strength and cause your body to output more durability, such as a Zoan hybrid form can do, also could possibly make you slightly more tired. But the fact that Kaido hasn't used this form in so long, I would stand to believe that him entering into his hybrid Zoan form is akin to Golden Frieza going into his Golden form the first time without getting actually accustomed to it. That's what I feel that is. Now, it may not exactly apply to One Piece due to the fact that DBZ and One Piece have different types of power scaling when it comes to power-ups. But like, whenever Goku goes in any of his Saiyan forms, the higher form he goes, the more tired and more stamina it drains out due to the increase in power. So I would like to believe that Kaido has been on such a high with his fighting and defeating everyone he ever comes across, that he's rarely had a reason to stay in his Zoan form for very long. So that leads me to believe that with him going in his hybrid Zoan form, it is actually slightly more taxing on him due to the fact that he rarely uses it. Every time he fights someone before we saw this was usually with him using his regular attacks or imbuing it with Conqueror's Haki. It wasn't until we saw his hybrid form that he started putting out more strength than normal. I'm going on a massive rant here, but I gotta get all this stuff out of my brain right now. So it leads me to believe that using a hybrid Zoan form can actually make you more tired the longer you use it, especially if you never use it all the time. Despite how strong Kaido is, I honestly believe that he's just relied on his natural strength alone because there was barely anyone who could cause him to want to go into his hybrid Zoan form all that often. That's how I feel. I just went on a massive rant. I just feel like I just went on a Charlie Day look at the connections rant here for a hot minute here. I'm sorry. King is a handsome black man. It'd be cool. It'd be cool if King was black. We'll have to see. It's a very logical way to make Kaido lose, to be fair though. Agreed, it's also more satisfying when Luffy wins from behind and no break. Yes, no break. King's a Lunarian, a moon person, I'm guessing silver colored hair, possibly. Nice setup chapter, yes. L chapter plus Naruto is better. That's funny. Plus, Kaido was fighting while carrying Onigashima. I like this more than what I actually thought would happen, and I don't think this fight is going to be one-sided, which shows how strong Kaido is even more. So just because Luffy has learned to use Conqueror's Hakis in his attack more, like he's imbuing all of his attacks with it now, so that means his body's grown accustomed to it. That doesn't necessarily mean that Luffy has the upper hand. He just now has put himself on an even playing field with Kaido. That's all that means. That does not mean that Luffy is just gonna make this a one-sided battle and then he's just gonna mop the floor with Kaido. No, it just means that Luffy can now fight on par with Kaido. So this makes this a fight. This doesn't make this a one-sided massacre, because a fight would mean that either chance has an equal chance of winning. That's what a fight means. This is now a fight. It was just a display of the Yonko's power, because nothing that even the combined might of the Supernovas was able to do against both Kaido and Big Mom was enough to literally really stop them. But now Luffy has put himself on the same combative playing field. It got massively dark all of a sudden. I am sorry. There's a whole bunch. It's cloudy. It is very cloudy outside. My apologies. Now, Luffy has placed himself on the same playing field as Kaido, which now makes this, it kind of makes it a slightly even fight. Now, I don't say that it's a slightly even fight due to the fact that since Luffy knows Conquerors with his attacks now, it just makes him as strong as Kaido. That is not the case. Kaido still outclasses Luffy in pure strength alone, despite Luffy being able to use Conquerors. Kaido is still stronger. Don't make no mistake. Just because Luffy's on the same playing field as Kaido does not mean he's as strong as Kaido. They just can clash evenly now. But Kaido is still clearly the stronger individual, which would make this fight even more satisfying at the end of it when Luffy beats Kaido despite Kaido's immense strength. Now, let's talk about Zoro versus King. With Zoro slicing up King's mask, King has pretty much kind of lost a little bit of self-control, because now it shows him using his Pteranodon wings, like him partially transforming, akin to what Marco can do. Because it's not, when we see Marco using his Devil Fruit Phoenix powers. It usually is him just using either his turning his feet into Phoenix claws and his arms into Phoenix wings, and then the rest of his body just remains the same. The same can be said of King. He does the exact same thing, but he just turns his arms. So he just starts slicing up the entire performance floor, and even Queen gets hit in one of these attacks, and it sends Zoro just rocketing out of the room right in front of Franky. And then we see King just clashing with Zoro even more, with Zoro saying, "Don't worry about him, I got him." But Zoro is wheezing and huffing and puffing. So despite Zoro having this regenerative formula in his system right now, it would appear that he's possibly, slowly but surely, starting to get tired again. And if we all remember, when that formula wears out completely, the drawbacks are going to hit him. So seeing Zoro huffing and puffing as he is right now, fighting King right now, just tells me that the timer is literally ticking away on this formula leaving his system. So Zoro has to defeat King right now before those drawbacks hit. Otherwise, it's going to be just like when Goku came out of his autonomous Ultra Instinct, and in the anime and in the manga as well, it shows literally his back just exploding from him overusing such a high degree of power that his body was not accustomed to. Those drawbacks are going to happen, and they're going to hit hard. I mean, Miyagi said that if he's going to suffer twice as many drawbacks as this thing heals. So picture Zoro enduring the pain bubble that Bartholomew Kuma made from Luffy's pain that he had and endured during all of Thriller Bark, and just escalate that. I just hope that the effect won't disappear during the fight. That's what I hope as well, because it's definitely going to hurt him. It's definitely going to distract him. The moment, think about it. Say, for instance, you're working, you're carrying something heavy, and all of a sudden a pain just shoots straight through your body. An immense pain that you cannot ignore because it just shoots straight through your body like an actual literal knife. It is hard to concentrate through that pain. Even for someone of Zoro's durability, and we've seen him endure literally everything. Everything. But that sort of internal pain, especially considering the fact that him taking on the Conqueror of the Three Worlds attack from both Big Mom and Kaido at the same time, literally broke so many bones in his body that when that regeneration formula wears off, it's not like it just automatically heals him and then it's just fine. It is literally a temporary band-aid for Zoro. A buffed band-aid. A juiced band-aid, if you will. So when that wears off, it's gonna hit him. It's gonna hit him hard. And we're finding some more Straw Hats suffering drawbacks. If you notice, we've been seeing a lot of Straw Hats suffering from drawbacks during this whole fight. Robin is currently unconscious because she decided to use her Demonio Fleur. We have Chopper, who's in his Grandpa Chibi form because he overused his Monster Point. And now we have Zoro, who has taken a supplement to regenerate his body for a short time, and now he's going, there's no avoiding it. He's going to suffer these drawbacks. So that's just going to be numerous Straw Hats who really can't do anything for the rest of the arc once their respective fights are over, which is only going to leave, it only leaves Jinbei, it leaves Brook, who's currently taking care of Nico Robin right now, it leaves Franky, Nami and Usopp are taking care of Tama right now, and of course Luffy. Zoro, Robin, and Chopper are, well, with Zoro closely approaching, are not in a state right now where they can rejoin the fight and actually lend a hand in a monumentally meaningful way. So a lot of Straw Hats are suffering some debilitating effects that is causing them to not be able to take part in any more fights right now. And that is slowly increasing. And Zoro is more than likely going to be the newest addition to that once that drug wears off. But also at the same time, with him facing off against King, we get a new move from King that's called Imperial Archer, which is essentially him using his wing to slice into Zoro and send him flying outside of Onigashima. Then Zoro uses a move called Three Sword Style Clear Lance, and the propulsion of that slash attack gives him enough enough of a boost to launch directly in the opposite direction and get back to Onigashima in order to continue his fight with King. With him saying, I almost fell. At least let me die by the sword. So any method of Zoro potentially losing this fight, if it is not by a literal sword, he refuses to let that be the end of him. That's why he used Clear Lance, because he's not about to lose a fight by falling into the ocean. He'd rather face King head on and die by the sword. You know, scars on the back are a swordsman's shame. Not receiving any scars at the end of a battle by a sword and dying by some other means could also be a shame as well. So then we have Zoro saying, I almost fell. At least let me die by the sword. Show me a little respect. With King showing his damaged mask at the top, and we actually get to see his skin, and his skin kind of looks dark. His skin kind of looks like it has like a little bit of a tan to it. So he could possibly have the same skin tone as Jack, or he could in fact be actually darker. We don't know. But we see his hair, it's slicked back, don't know the color of it, but we see he has dark skin underneath it. And that's the first we are seeing of anything that could even possibly resemble skin on King, because he's been completely clad in black leather. And we've never seen anything but his eyes, not even his mouth. We only seen his eyes, and that's it. This is the first time we're seeing King expose any sort of flesh. So, going forward in the next chapter, I hope we continue this fight. That's all I can say. I don't know if by the sword means a little sword, but at least to die by the actions of his opponent, not the environmental hazards. That sounds a lot better than what I said. But him die by the sword, like Neil Johnson says, to die by the actions of his opponent and not by the environmental hazards. That's what Zoro means. Thank you, Neil Johnson, for the correction. I always rely on you guys to correct me when I say something wrong. So thank you. Maybe Momo can create flame clouds to keep the island stable by flying around the width of the island repeatedly. As he does this, maybe the clouds formed are enabled then. Possibly. Brago DA said that he is black and Zoro is racist because he fought a black man. Fighting a black man don't make you racist. Please tell me he was joking. Finding a black man and fighting a black man because he is black, or because you don't like the fact that he is black, literally makes no sense. Plus, he fought many black characters. Yeah. Dude, one of the first opponents he faced. It was a joke, obviously. Okay, I was about to say. Whew. I figured as much, because Brago DAs don't say stuff like that. But when you think about it, he has fought a whole bunch of black people before. Like that Bomb Boogie guy. That dude that had like a nasty booger bomb devil fruit. And then you have Daz Bones from Alabasta. So, it's not really that far-fetched. If Zoro beats King, he... Karma. All in all, let me just keep on track here. So that way I don't keep you guys any longer than you need to, because we still have the chapter of My Hero Academia to go through, and we still have the newest episode of One Piece to go through as well. A funny joke, though, Ms. Monday, Daz Bones. But overall, this was a good chapter. It really was. It shows that Luffy is capable of fighting on par with Kaido now, even though Kaido is clearly the stronger individual. It has Momonosuke finally learning to use the flame clouds. Now, mind you, this isn't the first time that he's done this. He did it back all the way on Punk Hazard, but he had absolutely no conscious way of knowing he was doing it because he was in a massive daze. He doesn't even remember doing that way back on Punk Hazard when he first met Luffy the first time, and they came out of that garbage chute inside of Caesar's laboratory. But Momonosuke is finally learning how to create flame clouds that will allow him to fly. Now, the next step is for him to create flame clouds to encircle Onigashima, overpower Kaido's flame clouds, and keep Onigashima from crashing down on the Flower Capital. And, killing everybody. So that's the next step for Momonosuke right now. Even though he's still fearful, I'm glad Yamato is there with him to beat some sense into his head. I feel like Yamato being there with Momonosuke is possibly a better choice for him to have than Luffy, because Luffy is just plain blunt, and he expects people to just take that bluntness and then learn from it instantly, and then just change in an instant. versus Yamato, who, even though she behaves like Odin half the time, she's still Yamato, and thus her approach to talking to Momonosuke is a little bit better for Momonosuke to receive and take into himself and pay attention to. So I feel like Yamato being with Momonosuke right now is a far better choice than Luffy. Sure, Luffy may have his encouraging moments, but when he wants to get something done instantly, he does not care about the who, what, when, where, and why, just get it done. And he doesn't care how blunt he is saying this to a person. Yamato, however, has a bit more tact. That's a very better way to put it. Yamato has a bit more tact when she talks, which will make it easier for Momonosuke to be more receptive. There it is. That's the word I was looking for, receptive. Yamato has more tact when talking to people. And I feel that will make Momonosuke more receptive to receiving advice and receiving encouragement on him being able to do these flame clouds now. So Yamato is the best person that Momonosuke could have riding him right now. So these clouds just keep getting dark and just messing up my light, and I might have to use my regular light just in case, because these clouds are getting everywhere. But things are winding up. Just thinking about Onigashima, it never really occurred to me. That's it. All right, son. You've gone behind those clouds for the last time. I had enough of you. Now there is light. Whenever those clouds get in front of the sun, still got light. Now, it never really occurred to me that there was a massive stockpile of weapons on Onigashima and all that. Nor did I think that, well, if Onigashima fell, I just thought it would fall akin to, Ultron raising Sokovia in Age of Ultron, and then it dropping towards the Earth would cause like an extinction level event. That's just an entire nation falling down to Earth. But it never occurred to me that Onigashima, with its massive stockpile of weapons and bombs and explosives falling down to the world, falling down to the Earth, it never occurred to me that all that stuff going off and going up could be even more devastating than just the island just dropping on top of Onigashima, creating new Onigashima. It never occurred to me that it would just literally be a meteor bomb coming down and it'll just wipe everyone out. It never occurred to me, which makes this current situation that's going on with Onigashima right now far more dire. Even more than we imagined, just like the title said. But we're just going to have to see where things go from here. All I can say is I'm enjoying these chapters. I'm glad certain things are starting to ramp up and wrap up. It shows Nekomamushi and Inuarashi are done with their fights now, so that's a whole stint that we don't need to worry about. I talked about this during my last reflection stream. That's a whole stint that we don't need to worry about. But we still have fights. We still have matters to attend to before the end of this arc. We still have Law and Kid versus Big Mom. We still have Killer versus Hawkins, whose life is tethered to Kid. So as of right now, Killer and Hawkins are in a bit of a standstill right now until Killer realizes that if he slices off the arm that Hawkins has, he also slices off the little arm that has that last doll in him. And if he slices that off, then he can take on Hawkins without suffering any damage to Kid, because Kid's metal arm is the same place where Hawkins has had that doll. So if Killer realizes that if he slices off the arm, it won't really do much to Kid, because Kid is already missing an arm in that place anyway. So hopefully he realizes that. We still have Frankie's just out doing his own thing. He's not facing off against numbers or anything. Jinbei's done with his fight. So we really just have Raizo versus Fukuro Kuju, Law and Kid versus Big Mom, Killer versus Hawkins, Sanji versus Queen, Zoro versus King, and Luffy versus Kaido. Those are the big fights that are going on right now. Everyone else's fights is completely done right now. So the number of fights that we have to cover have grown even smaller than they were before. But we're just going to have to see where things go from here in next week's chapter. All that being said, I enjoyed this chapter, and I'm glad that we had someone acknowledge that, wow, I haven't seen this since Luffy said, since Odin's Journal talked about the clash between Roger and Whitebeard. So that's what this is. That's what that means. all in all, good chapter. And I'm looking forward to the next one. But that's all I got for you, ladies and gentlemen. I need to go ahead and get my My Hero Academia reaction started. So with that being said, hope you all enjoyed. Can't wait to see you all in my next video. And if you're new to the channel and you enjoyed what you saw here today, then consider subscribing. Drake and Apu haven't been seen in years. Tahiti, oh great, I forgot about him. Add Drake and Apu to the mix because they're still out there somewhere. Probably in the same place that Denjiro is because we haven't seen him either. But hope y'all enjoyed. Can't wait to see you all in my next video. And if you're new to the channel and you enjoyed what you saw here today, then consider subscribing because I am always looking forward to entertaining you. Ladies and gentlemen, we are getting closer and closer for this channel to hit 22.6K to 2,600 subscribers. This channel is getting bigger and bigger, and I am looking forward to entertaining more and more people as the days go on. I am just humbled by the support that you show to this channel, and I am grateful that God has given me strength to be able to do this day in and day out, endlessly. And I can't think of doing anything else because I just simply love to do this. So thank you for giving me the time of day. With that being said, because I am always looking forward to entertaining you. So have a fantastic day, and once again, as always, thanking people tends to throw off my entire intro so much. Later, peoples!